Hi everyone! I'm back doing another resin bloom video. My second attempt, in fact, and this video was actually filmed literally the next day after I did my first attempt at the bloom technique. I used Let's Resin's epoxy again. I actually pretty much used the same stuff as last time, though I did change a couple of things for this attempt. We'll get into that throughout this video, so let's go through my trial and error. Now, I started by mixing up 6 ounces of epoxy, which was divided up. A little over an ounce for the ocean white for the bloom part, and the rest of the resin was then divided into 2 coaster molds, which you'll see in a bit. I did run this resin through my bubble remover, but I accidentally forgot to record that part. Before we get too far into the video, I do want to say that this video is going to be a comparative video. I'll be going through what I did in this attempt compared to what I did in the previous one, so that you can know the changes I've done to try and improve my resin blooms. Now, for the colors, I did change those up. I still use the ocean white again because that's what creates the bloom effect, but for the alcohol inks, this time I went with purple and green for one coaster and aqua and raspberry for the other. I will talk a little bit more about the inks in a moment, but the biggest change I made for these resin blooms was the temperature. This time, I only allowed my resin to get to 34 Celsius, which is 93 Fahrenheit, before I started working with it and poured it into my molds. Last time, I think I got my resin up to 38°C, which is 100°F, and I think that this was the change I did that really made my blooms look better this time around. I feel that the petals spread nicer and opened up more. I will do a side-by-side comparison at the end so you can see the differences yourself, but the resin temperature is definitely the key to this technique. The other change I tried doing was adding less of the ocean white pigment, but looking back at my other video, I actually don't know if I did manage it. The intention was there, but I'm not so sure. I did get the milky white translucency nonetheless. It's important. You want to be able to see the popsicle stick through the resin because if you put too much where the resin is opaque white, that resin just ends up sinking and ends up looking blobby, and it doesn't do the bloom effect. Like I said, I recorded this video right after my first bloom, and if you watch that video, I went on about how the bloom technique has been the one resin technique I've been most intimidated by. And funny enough, as soon as I tried it, I was ready and excited to do it again. It's amazing how much you learn from the initial try, and when the second go comes around, you become more confident in making changes to make your work better. So let this be your little nudge to try that resin technique that you've been wanting to try, even if it completely goes wrong the first time. Let me know in the comments if there's any resin techniques you've been nervous to try. Now, going back to the inks, one of the reasons I changed them up was because one of the colors I used previously didn't spread out like I was expecting it to. Now, unfortunately, the purple ink did end up doing the same thing, though I think it did spread a little more. But the weirdest thing was that it turned out looking more of a dark navy blue than purple. I don't even see the purple. I don't know if it's because I didn't shake my inks enough. I also can't remember if it even matters whether the ink spread or not. I think the purpose of the inks might just be to add some color to the blooms, but for this matter, I am a little stumped as to why some of my inks aren't spreading. I'll have to go back and watch some more videos of the pros doing it, but if anyone has any idea, I would love the insight. I am thinking that next time I do a resin bloom, I might get a little creative with the colors though. Instead of keeping one color in the middle and one in the outer edge, I might play around with their placement and randomly drop the inks. Maybe that might help. Now, when it came to putting in the ocean white pigment, I just did the same spiral pattern. I did also do the same design pattern with my silicone tip tool, but the small thing I did change here was swirling the middle. I did my best not to swirl it too much because it can turn out messy, which it did. But this part here, I didn't want to change it too much since it did work out well previously. One thing I do want to mention, going back to the temperature of the resin, is that the temperature that I got my resin to, so the 34C93F, is for Let's Resin's 1-to-1 epoxy resin, since that is the resin I'm using. I'm not sure if the brand of resin matters, but it definitely matters for the type of resin. I've seen other creators use faster curing resins, and the process was slightly different. I should have mentioned this a little earlier, but if you're wanting to try this technique and have a different type of resin, I would recommend looking for a video that is using the same type of resin you have. Now, here's a quick time lapse of the resin bloom technique doing its thing. Isn't it just so satisfying to watch? It's really cool seeing the bloom petals come to life. Now, the next thing to do was allow the resin to solidify for a few hours so then I could put on the backing layer. For the purple and green coaster, I backed it with the black mica powder, and for the raspberry and aqua coaster, I backed it in the dark purple mica. As for the amount of resin I have here, I think it was 2 ounces. Because these were practice pieces, I wasn't too concerned to fill them properly, so I remember I didn't mix up too much resin. If you're here still watching, I really hope you're finding this video interesting and useful. You'll have to let me know if you like this comparative type video. The format of this voiceover is a little different than what I'm used to, but it is cool documenting and going through the changes I've done and seeing the results of those changes. It's even better when the changes do give you the results you're hoping for. Then the last couple of things to do was push the resin into the edges, cover it up, and again allow the resin to cure. All right, these coasters are cured. As you can see, I made these back in February. I didn't post this video sooner just to give a bit of a gap between both bloom videos, but I absolutely love how both of these blooms turned out. You can just see how beautifully the petals opened up. I am honestly really proud of myself that this is only the second time I've done this and I've achieved these results. I'm not too thrilled about the middle though. Both came out pretty messy still, so I will have to figure out how to fix it. I might end up putting a little sticker to hide it, but this is awesome. Again, I really hope you've enjoyed seeing my trial and error. Now I'm going to show you the side-by-side comparisons, and there you have it, my friends. Be sure to let me know your thoughts down below. Also, let me know if you've tried the bloom technique. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video and that you've learned something. I also hope this video inspires you to try that resin technique that you've been hesitant to try. If you'd like to see other resin techniques I've tried on this channel, then be sure to check out one of these videos next. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye!